Age of Enlightenment, Part 17. Hey, Donald Trump, you can't fix stupid. Although you can change stupid things that you've done and make it a learning lesson. Let me give you an example from my own life. I was once in my radical youth, long before I got married, I was a bouncer at a place called the Cotton Club. But I always had a deputy sheriff or Atlanta Police Department officer, but we called it a badge at the door, somebody I could use as an authority. So if I was going to kick somebody, I'd just bring them to the door and let the officer deal with them. But before people came into the venue, the officer and I would check IDs, and the officer would make sure that, no one had a weapon. But this is, back, nobody had, a magnetometer and stuff like that. It wasn't that type of venue. So, one time a guy was very belligerent, and he was either high or drunk or both. And he jumps back at me like this, and he reaches behind his back. And what's the first thing you think? First thing I thought was he has a weapon. And so I was competing in martial arts at the time all over the country. So my martial arts skills were pretty good. And I did what's called a spinning heel kick. And I hit him on the side of the head. And, he's bleeding from a couple areas. But what scared me is he didn't move. So when the ambulance came to pick him up to take him to Grady Hospital, the police officer I was working with went with him to the hospital. And, of course, for 2 hours, I'm thinking my life's over. I've never been convicted of a crime. I've now injured, possibly killed this guy. And, I'm in big trouble. Well, the police officer came back and said that, he grabbed a towel and ran out. You can't force someone to go into a hospital to get treated. And so obviously the injuries weren't serious enough where, he thought he needed to get treated. And he said he probably had a warrant or two out for him, so he didn't want us to process him either. So, but he told me, the police officer told me, that I had no more rights in that venue than the guy coming in. So he said, if that guy would have been seriously injured or worse, I'd be here to arrest you. So I never did another concert after that. And I didn't realize, how much danger I was in. And through my own stupidity, thought that I was protected by the venue, which I wasn't. And that I, I'd have some sort of authority to defend myself like that. And I didn't. I wasn't a police officer, and the venue was not backing me up. They paid me cash every night, so they probably would have gone, hey, what he does, he's on his own. So in other words, I did something really stupid, but I learned from it. And I've always been told the first duty of a witness is to testify. So whenever I would mentor boys in the church, I remember one time I told them that story, and I'm like, hey, my life could have changed at that point. If I had seriously injured that guy or killed him, I wouldn't have the business I have, which is private training. No one would trust me to train with a guy that's convicted of injuring somebody or killing them. I definitely wouldn't be in the marriage I'm in. I doubt if my wife, it took me 40 years to find someone to say yes, but I'm pretty sure that would have taken even longer if I had had a incident where I seriously injured or killed someone. So everything that was valuable to me, I wouldn't have had that situation gone south. And I thought that would be a good teaching moment for the boys. But what it turned into is every time a new kid joined the group, he goes, hey, this is our small group leader, Mr. Robert. He almost killed a man once. I'm like, no, not the point. But anyway, I digress. My point is, we've all done stupid things. And if we didn't kill anyone or kill ourselves, we try to move forward and learn from them and do better next time. That is my earnest prayer for our current administration in this country, especially our current president, because he has gotten away with murder. He got convicted of 34 felonies, but bankrupted a casino, had a university that was a scam and had to pay that out right when he started his first term of his last 4 years. He's just been a scumbucket his whole life. But it doesn't seem like he's learned his lesson. And I'm hoping through the disaster of these tariffs and the fact that this second administration is just really a hot mess from top to bottom. And he's nominating all these knuckleheads like RFK Jr. and, and the Patel at the FBI and Bondi at the, just a hot mess from top to bottom. I'm hoping that he goes, you know what? I've been stupid. And the things this administration is doing is stupid. And it's hurting the population. It's hurting everyone, even internationally. It's hurting people. So let's learn as a populace from this mistake. So if you voted for this administration, you made a mistake. Okay, you did something stupid. So, own up to it. And in the future, do something better. Maybe vote for a different party. Definitely vote, for better candidates. And the first duty of a witness is to testify. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Hey, I was Republican for X number of years and my family was Republican, but oh my God, this guy is horrible. So, we made a mistake. We need to move in a different party direction, but definitely a different human being direction. And we as a country can admit we did something stupid. Let's learn from it. Let's make better decisions, but also let's testify to the fact that we made a mistake and that we need to do better in the future. And just like I quit that job and I no longer did another job where I was a bouncer, we need to no longer put a moron behind the Resolute desk. As a country, we need to stop doing that. This is the second time we've done it. Okay? And I pray that we're still intact 3.5 years from now where we can make better decisions. But until then, midterms, dog catcher, Secretary of State, whatever election comes up, let's vote and let's do better. Let's learn from our mistakes. Let's learn from stupid, because you can't fix stupid, but you can fix how you learn from your mistakes and how you move forward after that. Let's do that.